Are you struggling in UFL? In particular, are you struggling with a play style to use that's consistent? And by play style, I mean a way to work the ball up the field, passing sequences to use, right? Barcelona during Messi's era, their play style would have been what? Tiki taka. There's some teams whose play style is long balls, or maybe even you would call it kick and run. There's some teams' play style is like the Mourinho Chelsea days. Sit back, park the bus, steal the ball, and counterattack, right? So if you're struggling with a play style, not to be confused with formations or the tactical setup or duties or anything like that, but just play style, the way you get the ball from wherever it is on the field into a scoring opportunity. If you are struggling with a play style, I'm here to give you the most successful way to play, to build up, to create scoring opportunities. Unfortunately, it is a very ratty way. There's no doubt you're going to have witnessed this, at least by your opponent, if you don't use it already. But even if you do use it, and it's no surprise, I want to talk to you about why it's so successful and why this, as well as many other things, need to be nerfed, right? So, if you haven't guessed it, I'm referring to the long switch from one side of the field to the other. If you truly don't know how to do it yet, the way you do it is fully power, either L1 and triangle, which is the most effective way, or you can even full power, just a regular cross with square, and just point to the other side of the field, and nearly 100% of the time, the ball will go straight to your opposite side winger, right? So, obviously, we just have to look at the percentages to see why, one, it needs to be nerfed, but two, why it is the most useful and therefore the most abused way to play the game and build the ball up to create scoring chances. Now, obviously, we know once you get it up there, the scoring chances, such as the curling shots, the low-driven cross to the near post, which you'll see me score with this game. You've seen if you watch my highlights. That needs to be nerfed as well. A lot of these scoring, the ways to score need to be nerfed too. Just because, again, with percentages, it's just far too high percentage to score some of these ways. And it just not only makes it unrealistic, because sometimes there's going to be some things that are unrealistic. It is a video game. But there is a line where you cross. And some of these things, which is why EAFC got ruined, some of these things are just so unrealistic and take away skill. These are such high percentage success rate that it makes it not fun, right? The skill gap is created, not only in this game, but any game, by the difficulty it is in building up and creating chances. The difficulty it is, for instance, to defend, such as that block shot I just had, and being able to read the plays. The better you can read plays, both offensively and defensively, and the better passes you make and whatnot, that's what should determine if you win in this game, and really in any sports game. The mechanics, being able to, for instance, with the long switch, no matter what, get out of pressure, no matter what, getting out of having to pass and move and get through a defense with just powering all the way up a long switch, that takes away the skill gap. The ability to just go to a certain angle on the field and power up a finesse shot the right way and score without having to face the defense even at all. That takes away the skill gap. There's no skill there, right? So the thing is, though, because it's such a high success rate, of course players are going to use that every time because that gives them that many more chances to score in the game. You see what I'm saying? If there could, because other ways to play definitely work, right? You can build up with passing and moving, with dribbling, trying to beat the opposition's defense on the dribble or whatever. Just like you can score other ways besides curling shots and crosses to like an aerial threat, like a Holland or something. You can score in other ways, but the percentage of those ways are so high that many players will just wait for those particular opportunities, right? Especially in a tight game where your chances are few and far between. You want to take that high percentage. So that long switch across the field right now, even though it doesn't necessarily create, it's not scoring a goal for you. It's not like you can do it and then shoot right off of it. It just takes away all those times where you might have got the ball stolen on the way, right? It gives you almost a skip button, right to the point where you can make a move into the middle if your opponent doesn't mark it and take a curling shot right from that long cross. You can go to the byline and cross it in, either on the ground or in the air. You can fake one way, go the other, fake byline, go curling shot, or fake curling shot, go byline. And then last but not least, when the defender has to rush out to mark you, now you can play it in the middle, and now you have a hole in the defense, and you're right in an opportunity to either shoot right away or just create whatever you do from there, but you skip the process of building the ball up with that long switch. Hence, you skip pretty much playing football altogether. But as long as it's in the game, if you want to find success, you're going to have to use it, because if you don't and your opponent does, which I can almost guarantee you almost all your opponents will, they're just going to have that many more chances to score. That's where it increases your success rate so much, right? So with that being said, this has been out for a while, so if you're wondering why did it take me so long to adopt this, because even though I use it here and there, I never fully adopted it because of my 5-back setup. Now, I can count on one hand how many times I've faced teams with 5-back setups, which is why I think I had so much success defending it, and it's why I also didn't realize how overpowered it was, and didn't realize this till now, because in my 5-2-3, which I did a tactic video on if you want to go check that out, in my 5-2-3 I was easily defending that long switch. Now, I say easily, that's probably the wrong word, because teams, as you even see in this example, this game right here, teams still will score on you with it. But it's just a lot less than in a 4-back system, because in a 5-back, which please take note of this if you're struggling to defend that long switch, this is the opposite end of it. I told you how to do it and why to use it. This is how you can defend it if it's getting you, which it pretty much gets everyone. So here's how you would do it in a 5-back. You would do the same thing in a 4-back, but you just have more coverage. So in the 5-back, I pull my wing back all the way out to pressure that, right on that player who's receiving that long switch. Right as I get that player in position near that attacker, I switch to my center mid and pull him into a position to block a pass into the middle for one, and then B, to be ready in case that player can dribble and be my wingback, so he can't just easily get into a spot for a curling shot. Or if he gets beat, my defender gets beat to the byline, I'll get my center back, or see him, switch over to him, and kind of back my defender up. So no matter what, I have my CM there for backup. If for some reason he's way upfield, there was a counterattack and a long switch, I'll just pull one of my center backs into that position to kind of back up my wing back. And I'll still have two other center backs and a wing back, as opposed to the 4-back where once you run that wing back out there, A, you better hope your center mid's there to cover you, because you need two center backs in the center. B, if your center mid isn't there and you have to pull your wing back and your center back to mark both the player with the ball in that potential cutback or passing lane, now you got two defenders in there and you're in big trouble. Now, if that player does get by you, they're almost assured a scoring opportunity, and when you get to the higher levels, chances are they're going to score there. So, in summary, the reason why it is necessary at this point to utilize the long switch play style, right? If you want to call it that, the long switch glitch. Right now, why you have to use it is because, simply speaking, if you don't, you're only going to get limited chances, whereas your opponent will constantly get chances because it just creates, as you see right here, long switch, into the center, curling shot, goal. If he would have, for instance, not been able to long switch, let's just pretend that they nerfed it. If he would have had to take that ball from that wing position and try to build up and get that ball to that same spot to do what he did there, there's a much larger chance that I would have either intercepted a pass or stole the ball from him while he was dribbling, right? So the long switch is just going to at least even up the playing field and get you just as much chances. Now, maybe you play someone who's been under a rock and they aren't utilizing the long switch, or maybe they're like me who just, weren't sold on the fact that it was as powerful as it is, then guess what? If you use it, you're going to get that many more chances. Now, in that case, okay, if you want to be a purist and say, nope, I'll never use that unless my opponent does, then there you go. If you find an opponent that doesn't use it, you don't have to. However, if you want to instantly raise your success rate while it's in the game, utilize the long switch, fully power up an L1 triangle, going all the way across the field, and then watch yourself get many more chances to that are created off of that, right? And then defensively, if you want to mark it the best way, that long switch, and it's getting you every time, go to a 5-back setup. You can still utilize the width of the field in the 5-back if you go with the 5-2-3. Again, I did a tactic video on it. However, the truth is, what needs to happen, what we all wish, at least I hope we all do, is that they just nerf all this stuff. At least the percentages that these things are successful by these things, the long switch, the finesse, precision, whatever shots, whatever you want to call them, that low-driven cross to the near post, all that stuff. It all needs to be gotten rid of, and then we can start talking about pure football and strategies to win the game that aren't really just glitches, right? I have confidence they'll fix it, and they need to fix these things. Otherwise, it's just too close to EAFC, right? That would be especially disappointing for a game that I can see and know from playing has so much potential to just blow EAFC out of the water. So let's hope they get rid of all this stuff. But in the meantime, if you're struggling, you want to be instantly more successful both in creating chances as well as defending that long switch. If you have a team utilizing that, well, then this video should definitely help you. And defensively, you go to the 5-back. Offensively, you still have the long switch. There you go. Rack up some wins until they take care of this stuff.